Now, not only can you export one video at a time, you can actually export multiple versions of the same sequence timeline, but and you can also at the same time export other sequences. And so you will do it the same way you do a single one. You would go to File, Export Media, and you would get the same screen, and you could set that first version up the same way, and you just so you know, you can change where you want it to save to. So I'm having it saved to this folder called videos, and you can change the name of it, whatever you want to do there. And we have all our information here that this is a 720p and whatnot. So we've sort of just left all that, but instead of clicking the export button, which we did when we exported out a single movie, we're going to click the Q button. And what the Q button does is it starts a application called Media Encoder, which is an Adobe app. Also, you need to make sure you have that downloaded when you download Premiere. And what you end up getting, here, let me get rid of all these. Uh, what you end up getting is the video that you would have normally just exported by itself is right here. And it tells you that we're going to do it an internet format of H.264 using the YouTube preset. Now, what if I also wanted to export that same sequence out as a 480p movie, a smaller version, an SD version instead of HD? I can do that. What I'm gonna do is right click on the first one and tell it to duplicate. I'm gonna do that a couple of times, and it just gives me the same things. And to change this one, the second one, to 480, I'm just gonna click on that little arrow and come down here and pick for YouTube 480. You couldn't see that, but it was there. And then on this third one, I think I want to export it as a QuickTime so that I can save it to a DVD or something like that. So I'm going to go down and pick QuickTime, and usually you want to also pick one of these DV settings. I'm going to pick the widescreen setting. So now I have these three, and I could keep going. I could make as many different versions of this particular sequence as I wanted here. I can also go out and pick other sequences. So what I'm going to do is click this little Add Source button. And when I click it, I can go and find a project, and this is the project we've been working on, this intro project. So if I double click that or open that, what I end up seeing is how all the sequences are in there. Now I already have part one right here, so I want to also export the sequence part two. So I'm going to import that, and now you see it pops up as well. It will assume whatever the settings are of the previous one listed, so it has the QuickTime setting. I'm going to change it back to the H.264. I know that it is 1080p, so I'm going to go down and pick the YouTube 1080p setting instead of the 720 or the 480, and it's going to save it in a different place. So I want to change that. I'm going to go, I have that videos folder, and there we go. So now I have these three of one sequence and one of another sequence. And now I can set them all to export and sort of just walk away. So what I'm going to do is select them all, and I'm going to press this little play button. It's called the Start Queue button. And when I do, you'll see immediately it starts exporting the first one listed here up here, the first sequence. And you can see that it is now grayed out, as the ones that haven't been done yet are blue, and now you see the second one is grayed out too. So we're going to jump to where the fourth one is almost done. Now we jumped to the last video, and it's about to end its encoding process. And you'll see as it does end, the encoding panel basically goes blank because it's done working. here it is, pretty quick here. It's just tying up some loose ends, and then there you go. It tells you you're no longer encoding. And if you look up into the Q panel, you'll see all 4 video preset names and presets all grayed out, which leads you to believe that yes, it has finished encoding. And we can go look and see, and sure enough, there are the 4 videos. 3 of them are MP4s and the other one was the QuickTime movie. So that's how easy it is to export a lot of sequences out of Premiere at the same time.